Well, I'm now joined by Ed from Reacton here at FIREX. Very good to see you this morning.
How are we?
Very good, thank you very much indeed. So perhaps you could start by telling us exactly what the company does.
So the company designs and manufactures automatic fire suppression systems that are pneumatic based. So it's a very simple concept that it's free of electrics. We don't require any we don't require any electrical intervention in terms of the ability to fire the system. So it's a very self-contained automatic system that is very, very reliable for a wide range of applications.
And this is for what sort of size space?
It is scalable, so we can go from a very, very small space to almost a room-size protection. We have various different sizes of systems that cater for very small but very large applications as well. So it's a very modular system, almost like a Meccano kit when it comes to fire suppression.
And the technology behind it, using pressurization, I assume uses less water and should cause less damage. Is that the idea?
It is, yeah. So our principle is very much early detection. So you'll find a lot across the show, fire alarms, smoke detection, and the key thing is early detection. Our ability to find the fire in the most obscure places by running the detection tubing across the protected area means that you have two options really in terms of extinguishing a fire. We can either discharge from the tube itself, so we actually hit the fire where the fire starts, or we can actually use the tube to trigger a discharge through a network of nozzles that you actually see like on the back wall here.
I see. Okay, so how does it detect? Are there detectors within this tube itself?
No, what we do is very simply, you've got a stainless valve that we have here, and effectively in the body of the valve, you've got a differential valve. So providing that the pressure is in balance, so the pressure that is within the cylinder is the same as what's in the tube, the system sits there and doesn't do anything. Yes. It sits there, it's quite happy. However, if we rupture this tube, the differential pressure causes the valve to rise. And what happens at that point is the piston in here removes itself from the seal and then will discharge through the network of nozzles.
So essentially the fire causes pressure, is that what you're saying?
No, the firewall causes the tube to burst, which then causes a loss of pressure in the tube.
So then pressure change, and then that then triggers the discharge.
Yep. And then the alternative to that is like you have here, which is where if, for example, you don't need a network of nozzles, so that would be inside a control cabinet. It may be a server cabinet or a communications cabinet. We've been talking to some people here today about providing an OEM solution for them. Is we use a slightly larger tube, and where the tube bursts, the actual agent that we use to extinguish the fire comes out of that very hole. Clever. So it's a CT, which is the direct system, or a CTX, which is the indirect system.
I mean, it's very simple, but very clever.
Yeah, it's simple, but it is all about the reliability of the system and the quality. It's something that we take extremely seriously at Reacton. We've invested a huge amount in the last years in terms of our R&D, where we're going with the valves. We use a full stainless body of a valve because the environment that these valves often work in, especially one of our sister companies that installs it into heavy-duty mobile equipment, it needs to be a rigorous product. You know, it has to be tested, and we do vibration testing, environmental testing, and all of our 3D modelling that we do at our facility is all done in-house.
And what about competitors?
There's 2 to 3 major competitors worldwide. We bought the company 2 years ago, and it was established in about 1995. So it's been established. It's actually one of the longest established out of all of the competitors, but it hadn't been developed to the level that we want. That we now are achieving. So a huge amount of investment has gone into the company, and now the next 2 to 3 years we'll see a continual range of new products being delivered for a range of applications.
And you're based in Britain, whereabouts?
We're based in Chelmsford in Essex.
I know it very well, up the A12.
Yeah, very much, yeah.
And then anything here that you particularly should draw my attention to?
So for our heavy-duty applications, for example, this is we actually design and test all our nozzles internally, and again, it's produced in stainless steel. So this is part of our discharge kits that are used on that CTX system that I showed you. So when the tube bursts, it will use the nozzles to discharge. And then particularly this is a battery isolator. So in the event of an electrical fire on a mobile equipment, it might be a bus, it could well be a bus, it could be a loading shovel, it could be an excavator. We simply use a pneumatic valve designed by us that effectively isolates the electrical supply without needing any electrics. So all of this, remember, doesn't require any electrical power. This is all pneumatic based. So effectively that product there is something that we sell a huge quantity for, because a lot of fires on mobile equipment are electrically based. And with electrical fires, the only way to contain them is to stop the flow of electric, and that isolator is what we use to do that.
Really clever stuff. Very quickly, how was yesterday for you?
Very, very busy. Yeah, great contacts. You know, it's people. You know, people have been very appreciative of how much we've grown over the last year, and it's just great to see some familiar faces, but also a lot of new faces and a lot of markets that people aren't aware that this can be fitted to. And obviously, in recent developments in the last couple of weeks with the fire we've had in London, which is is really terrible, but there are some immediate solutions that can be fitted to provide interim protection before we come up with the finite solution. So it's a modular system that can be literally fitted to anything.
Super. Thank you very much indeed, Ed. I wish you a very great second day here. I hope it goes really well for you. And do send my love to Chelmsford up that A12. Thank you. Cheers.